Hello and welcome everyone. It is good to be back. I took a little bit of time off of streaming on Dev Chatter, as some of you may have noticed. I disappeared mainly because I had a bit of a cold and it zapped my ability to speak. You can probably still catch a little bit of that, but I am actually able to talk now, so that's nice. Today, our plan is to continue on with our chatbot that we were writing before. We previously got it connected to Twitch and sending out periodic messages. We're probably going to continue to have it do that sort of thing, but I do want to tap into some of the bot's ability to detect other people that are showing up. So today we will be taking a look at that. We may also take a look at our soundboard if we have people that want to take a look at that instead. Just shout out and let me know. We are planning on working on both of those. Should be going back to our regular streaming schedule, which is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. For 1 to 2 hours is all we're going to be coding. So just a little bit of programming exercise and fun pair programming and writing some interesting stuff that's more fun than what we generally work on at the office. So today I am going to go ahead and jump in there. I will not be reviewing any changes that we had on pull requests or anything like that, as I've merged those in already and I don't want to pull up the previous ones. So, hey, welcome. I think we just got a follow from all of the C# Fritz community, so welcome everybody. Hope you're looking to write some code today. Was just mentioning that took a little bit of time off due to a little bit of sickness, and you'll probably notice scratchiness in my throat, but I am able to talk now. So a while back, a couple of weeks ago, we started a chatbot that we are going to connect to Twitch and other services. For now, it's running as a console application that just does this connection, but very likely we're going to switch this to living somewhere out in the cloud. Probably this will have a web component so that we can have achievements and other things like that. So one of the goals I want to put in here is, you know how all the consoles do their little achievements pop up, something cool. I want to build something like that into it, and eventually I want us to be able to program our bot using C# as a scripting language if we can. So we're going to be taking a look at that. But for now, let's jump into our code and see what we've got. So, as I mentioned, we know we're throwing out our console application, so it's not the greatest bit of code that we've ever worked on, but it does work. So, what we have today is we set it up with some basic configuration that we have in our app settings.json file, and using the standard .NET Core way of pulling all that in. Right now, our app settings just contains our credentials for connecting to Twitch. The credentials are not in there right now for obvious reasons. I don't want to display my OAuth token in there and have to reset that every time I do a stream, because that would be a pain in the rear. So what we are working on is we have a couple of pieces in here for now. I actually have the Twitch Connect disabled, so I could do a little bit of testing. I'm going to go ahead and run our program. The only thing that we have going right now is we have an automated message that runs once every minute and just prints out a bit of text. We are currently throwing a not implemented exception because I actually have this in here right now as part of our fake data initialize. So I'm going to get rid of that. And we're not using our settings. You'll remember I mentioned that our settings are used for connecting to Twitch only right now, so that's why it's grayed out. Hey, CodeBytes TV, how's it going? Okay, so why is it even running that code? Figures. So I have generic one, I reference it there, and I've got that. Okay. So I did nuke the one that gets me anything, so I am going to just return back a new list of T for now. Return it. Alright, so now when I run this code and put that back, it should actually work as we expect it to. Okay, so tossing the bot on here so you guys can see it run. I'll just bring it forward once a minute so we can see it working. Good to hear, good to hear. It's SQL's fun every once in a while. Not the world I like to live in all the time, but I do enjoy fiddling around with it. So, you might have noticed that I was setting up a JSON library to store our data. Now, the reason for that is that right now, I'm working under the assumption that at least while we have this as a console application, we might want to store file data. Now, the reason why I was talking about doing file data is that there are a lot of Twitch tools out there, streaming tools I should say, not just exclusive to Twitch, that access different data and can work with OBS and other things like that. All of those tend to store or reference different files. So they just use file storage because it is an easy way for a lot of different applications using different technologies to access the same data. So makes it pretty easy to work with. That's the only reason we're doing that for now. Obviously, if we do toss this on the web, say Azure, we will probably use some more advanced storage than that, but it'll be a while before we do that. So, the first thing that I wanted to mess with, I was going to show you that I set up a little fake data static class to give us our initial data set that we want to start off with. And the fake data set, all I'm doing right now is just jamming all the data into a JSON file and yanking it out again. Nothing very advanced, so just a little bit of basics for that. So, what I want to do is basically reverse what we were doing there over in our repository. You may notice that I'm doing a generic repository. I'm planning on making this slightly complicated. I want it to be a bit of a nice architectural structure, we'll say. Something that we could use and is kind of cool and fun for anybody who is watching the stream. So I am a big fan of two things when it comes to data storage. The first one is I like specifications. Welcome. Epinidex? Not sure how to pronounce that one. I'm sure I screwed that up. But welcome, thanks for following. So I'm a big fan of using specifications as a way of accessing data, as it gives you a nice structure for defining what data you actually want to get. I like the generic repository, and you'll notice that the repository itself is not generic, but the calls in it are. That means that you can use one repository dependency, even if you need to access more than one thing. That does come with the flaw that you can access too many different things sometimes. So there's a trade-off there. But the other thing that it's going to let us do in the long run is I like really fast data storage, but I also like caching. And the reason I like caching is that if you do end up with large amounts of data or needing to access from any location that's difficult to get to, it is nice to be able to just add in caching when you need it. The reason I do the structures that I do is that I like to be able to follow the open-close principle. For those of you that don't know, that principle is that you want your code to be open to extension and closed to modification. So what that means is I have this repository that I've set up here, and it's going to know how to access data. Now, if I want to add caching to this, my goal is that I don't have to modify this class in order to add caching. So likely what I'm going to do is I am going to add another layer to this and follow the decorator pattern as a way of implementing the open-close principle. So the nice thing about that is that through the use of specifications and knowing types, I can actually use that as part of the key when I am storing things in my cache. So ideally when I set this up, we'll be able to say, even if you used a lambda expression as part of your specifications, say we had a specification that was, a get by ID kind of specification, we'll be able to add caching based on that. So I'm hoping that eventually we'll be able to add that kind of thing in and show it on stream. But for now, we have a pretty simple structure, and we're just going to continue on with this. So I just pulled this in because I knew that would get me the right namespace to get me the NuGet package for that. So wondering if the serializer can deserialize. It can. Fantastic. Okay, so I don't want to deserialize T. I want to deserialize a list of T, right? Because I want to pull a whole list out. Now, my assumption here is that I'm going to have a file that just contains, each one of these is going to be a file for any given T that I want to store, and I'm just going to toss those in a folder. So essentially what that'll mean is for any given type that I want to store, I will just have a single file full of all the objects of that type. Not perfect for what I'm doing here, but it's kind of a cruddy approach, but hey, it should work for what we're doing today. I only intend it to be temporary, so we'll see what we end up with. I need to give it the file that it's going to use. I'm no longer returning that. I want to return this, which should work. It does. Okay, I'm actually going to take a look at fake data because it's going to tell me where that file is, I think. There it is. So there's my file path. I don't actually want to reference that. I want to have a name of T. Now, I'm not confident on what name of T is going to get me here. So I actually can't remember what name of does when you give it a generic. I know I've messed with it before. However, not always confident on those things. Okay, so my JSON text reader wants a text reader. Thanks. What is this? Oh, that's kind of cool. New text reader. Really? What do you want? You don't want a file path? Text reader dot. Nope. This one's a JSON reader, so JSON text reader. Alright, I'm going to pull these out. I'm going to have to move this somewhere else, because I do not want it sitting here. Now I need a text reader. Okay, it says I can't just new up a text reader. Do I JSON text reader dot something? Nope. This thing seriously wants one of these? Oh. Oh yeah, it'll take a text reader. What implements a text reader then? You piece of junk. Okay, I'll give it a shot. So, using a file open text. Okay. Well, let's see what it does. Thank you for that, Dr. Blue. So you're thinking that if I toss these in here, that I can get away with this using file as my text reader. Hey, nice. Good call on that. Now what I'm really wondering about, it'd be cool if I knew if that worked. We're about to find out if it does, because I am going to attempt to use it right down here. So we're passing in that repository, which we use down here to pull off our messages to see if we need to use them. So let's see what happens. Oh, really? That would be cool. That is entirely possible, because that might count as, you're right, that might count as a JSON text reader, but it does not. Either way, let's give this code a shot, see what it does. Actually, we still have our old one running, since it didn't pull any, it wouldn't have been pulling any data, so well, the internet will lie to us all the time. Okay, so interesting thing that I want to note. So I mentioned I wasn't sure what the name of was going to do. Looks like it did attempt to go for t.json, which is kind of funny. Alright, so here's what we need to do. We are going to do a get type, actually a t dot, a type of t, and then we will get the name of that type, which ought to work. Just got to go the other way because that type doesn't really exist until runtime. Alright, let's see what we got here, because this is a different error. Could not create instance of that type as an interface or abstract, cannot be instantiated. Right. we can't actually make the type. So that's where it gets a little bit weird. So since I want to store these as an interface, I could do that. Or alternately, I could just store them as their explicit type, but then I would have to separately grab the file for each one based on what the type actually is. Not super big on that right now, so what I'm going to do instead is change up what I do for a moment. I am going to be explicit, and instead of storing based on those values, I am going to store the actual type and ignore the interface for the time being. So then in the spot where I call this, in the spot where I call it, okay, I am going to ask it for that and change that policy to be about those. Okay. Sounds good. Now that should work again.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Assuming that I create the fake data this time, because I forgot to. Hey, welcome. I think someone just followed, but I missed who it was. Sorry about my not mentioning your name on there. But I will check and see who just gave us that follow. Okay, so our bot is running again. Now that we have our fake data, this should be doing our once a minute, I think is what we have it set to. Let's take a look. We have once every 15 minutes we're going to say hello and welcome. Now we used when we called this, so I want to show you guys what our specification actually does, because it was in there. Thank you, Woodsy. Appreciate the follow. Hopefully you enjoy this. So here's what we're doing. So I added the iRepository interface in here without you guys. It's stupid simple right now because we're not really doing anything with it. Heck, I didn't even throw the write in here yet. So we take in a specification that tells us what restrictions we want to have. So if we take a look at our iSpecification interface, it is an iSpecification of t, and for it we're just doing an expression of a function of t boolean. So essentially what that means is we want to take in some function that lets us define which objects we actually want to include in the list. So this is basically like a built-in where clause on our repository, with the idea being that in the future, wherever we put this, we can put these kinds of restrictions on, so you don't have to do this in memory on objects. So if this is a database, for example, this could get translated into the SQL statements that you're using to pull the data out. This could also be a way that we are able to do our caching, for example. So to show you the only specification we have right now, I created just an active message policy, which is an implementation of our specification. And this policy basically just says that we want our messages to be active. And so only those ones will actually be included in our set when we do this. So that is just the structure that we are using today. If people have strong stances on that, we can switch it around and do whatever you guys want to do with it. So let's go ahead and continue on. I just wanted to show you guys what I'd set up there so that it was not a surprise to you. And really quickly, let's pull this up. So you'll see we are actually getting more than just our active ones. So our specification is not being run, and the reason, we didn't put it in here. So you'll notice we take in this specification and we don't use it at all. So, since we want to use this specification, we need to actually call it and make it do something. So, what we're going to do is take a look at the this code down here. So we have this list, and let's see, spec.criteria, and we want to call compile on it, and then invoke, and targ is going to be our t. So I think it's something like this, if I remember correctly. It's one of those things like you write this once and then you don't write it again. There are a million things that you write one time. So I think it's like that you use to call this expression. So this gets hidden away here, and we call that, and I think that will limit us down to the ones that we want. We'll find out really quickly. And all these files are locked because I still have this running. Let's go ahead and spin this up again. Actually, before we do that, let me go ahead. I'm going to nuke this data really quickly because I don't want to have that there. And I am going to shorten this to a minute. Now, the reason I am doing that is that I want to have this actually be visible to you guys, since we don't want to wait 15 minutes between these messages. Okay, so essentially what that specification is going to do is it's going to mean that we're looking only for this item because it's set to active, and draft and disabled shouldn't count. You might notice this one's grayed out, and that's because that is the default option right here. Okay, so that's our fake data. There's our repository. It's actually running its restriction, and that minute has not passed yet, but that's what we've got set up. Okay, so the next thing that I want to take a look at that we're going to do while that's running is, so right now, we are having the bot just run this loop of messages. Now, we might set this up to be a separate thread that's running and doing this loop so that we can be watching for other things as well. But I don't really want to mess with that just yet because I want to save that for another stream. So here you'll notice, guys, it printed out the 1, but it still printed out foo. Which one was foo? Let's take a look. So it apparently included foo, and it shouldn't have. So fake data initialize. Foo is the draft one. What was our specification saying we wanted it to do? Anybody see what we messed up there? Data item equals active. Interesting. Data item status 1, 0, and 2. Okay. Why did it pull foo then, I wonder? Makes me want to actually debug this thing. Luckily, that's the first code that runs in here, so we don't actually... Oh, it actually printed bar also. What is it doing? Where is it getting this data from? Okay. So we get to this point, and I didn't do anything with it. Foolish me. See? All that stuff people always post on the internet, they're like, we're all beginners. It's like, yeah, we really are. We are always messing things up that are simple, and we are always having to Google the silliest stuff. Welcome to professional development. Alright, that ought to fix it. Okay, so now that that is working as expected, no way it could go wrong, let's go ahead and take a look at what is available to us through TwitchLib now. So if we take a look over here, you'll notice that we are not accessing any NuGet packages inside of Core right now. We don't have anything special. We are keeping all of our Twitch bits out here. So what that's going to mean is that TwitchLib has an eventing structure built in. TwitchLib is the dependency that we pulled in a couple of weeks ago to connect to Twitch. It does some of the WebSocket communication for us, which is nice. So we don't actually have to do that on our own. So saves us some plumbing code that we don't really care about. And for now, we just set it up so that it's implementing this interface. Now, the reason we did this is that we want it so that we can treat Twitch and Discord and YouTube, Mixer, any chat room we want to connect to the same. So we have wrapped around the Twitch client that we get from TwitchLib. Something I do want to talk about at some point is I would love auto-implementing interfaces in C#, but they will never give it to me, no matter how many times I ask. I would really like to see it. It's something that was actually almost implemented in C++, and by that I mean there's an implementation proposal from years ago in C++ that has not been added. They call it concepts in C++, and I'd like to see the same thing added in C#. Okay, so essentially we just wrapped around the Twitch client and we sort of just kind of hacked it together a little bit. That's all we did here, and it works all right. So Twitch client functions basically the way we want it to. The next thing I want to do with this, since this is where our client lives, is I want to wire up some events on it. So this is when it's connected. So let's say our Twitch client. Now we're supposed to have some events. So things like on being hosted. A whole bunch of events that TwitchLib set up for us, and if we end up needing an event that they don't support, we can take a look at adding it ourselves, because TwitchLib is on GitHub and open source, so we can modify it if we need to. Okay, so user joined. That could be a fun one. Send receive data. Where's a command? Something to do with commands. Whoops. On chat command received. Okay. So for those of you that don't know, the convention for a Twitch bot and many other bots is that they receive commands that have a bang, an exclamation point, as the first part of the line. So, for example, there is actually a bot in the chat right now. You guys may have noticed it. It is actually not our dev chatter bot. It is a Streamlabs chat bot. Although it's technically also our bot because they're connected to the same one right now. But we can do a couple of things. So technically, you guys are all earning currency in here. I guess I'm not sure if any of you care about currency. I think the command that is enabled for ours is coins. So if you type exclamation point coins into the chat. I think that's what it is. Coins? Points? What is it? Points? Okay, it's points. So you will see that you get back a response from the chatbot that says how many points you have. So anybody that's in chat should be able to see that. And you'll see that the dev chatter bot responded to you. So dev chatter bot is actually what our bot also runs as. So if I allow it to connect to Twitch, it will send those messages on a periodic basis. And the only bot that we have it sending right now, the only message we have the bot sending right now is a reminder to follow, which reminds me, if you are watching and aren't following it, go ahead and click that follow button and you can get notified when our stream starts. So yeah, see, Woodsy, you're already building up points. Okay, so chat command received. So in theory, this set of event args has a command on it. And this, in theory, has everything we need on it. So, interesting. So they've actually broken this up into all the different pieces. So there's arguments as a list, as a string, and the full chat message itself. So the command identifier here, this has got to be the exclamation point. This has to be the bang at the beginning because it's a single character. And then we have command text. So this piece has to be, in this case, the word points or something like that. So when we set this up, the way that we're going to want to do this is we are going to want to set up some kind of a commands object that has these identifiers and things like that in them also, so that we can wire ourselves up to be able to respond to all these different types for each client we connect to. For now, I think I'm just going to wire this up on Twitch by just doing this. Yes, I'm going to do a switch. No, you're not allowed to kill me for it. You can whine and complain if you like, though. But I mean, you're pretty much always allowed to whine and complain if you really want to. Okay. The command text that we are looking for is going to be coins. And we'll figure out what it does in a minute. So that works, probably. So in order to make that happen, we're actually going to have to real connect to Twitch. So what I am going to do, and you'll notice I did coins because the Streamlabs chatbot is currently configured to listen for points. So if we listen for coins instead of points, we might actually be able to not have them fight, which I would appreciate. So, step 1, sneak over into an app settings JSON file and throw in an OAuth token that you guys don't see. So in order to do that without you guys seeing, I am going to give you a little BRB screen here, just to hide it from you. No, this one. No peeking, not BRB. See, no peeking. I've got stuff I need to do. Now you guys still get to hear me, and I apologize, I just realized I don't have the music on there, so no background music for you guys while I do this one. Let's see. I need to grab my OAuth token. Here it is. And you guys are still not peaking, so I can modify that. Okay. And should be done with that. And I will bring you guys back now. So, hey, welcome back. We are still here. We still have background music playing. I don't think I've mentioned, actually, so far in this stream, the music we're listening to in the background is Relax Daily, relaxdaily.net. It's actually some music I've been listening to for years now. The guy that does the music has been putting it on YouTube for quite a while. A lot of it's just available for free, and he does have some songs like the ones that we're listening to, which he is open to people just using in the capacity that we are here, just as nice, light background music. And I should also mention that you can take a look down below to see the information both about the music that's playing now and the music that was playing in the intro if you were here for that. Okay, so back to this. We've told the bot to listen for this, and at this point it's not really doing anything, but what I want to do is I'm just going to hard code in a response and say coins, who needs coins? And we're just going to do that response just to detect if we are getting this. So I just want to see if this is wired up and working or not. So step one, go ahead and run this, just see what it does. So our bot is going. Now I am going to say coins and see what it does. Don't know whether it's going to get that message or not. Actually, I'm realizing I should be debugging this just to see what happens. Because I do want to see what happens. Okay, let's see if it even detects these as commands. Oh, I don't have it. Duh. You guys are gonna laugh. There we go. Now I'm not debugging because I think, now that it's actually in there, that this might work. Coins? Who needs coins? Okay, so you'll notice because I hard-coded it inside of our Twitch chat client, instead of actually wiring it up through our chat client interface, that it didn't send the message here, but you guys did see it in chat. So, yeah, anything you type in with an exclamation point at the beginning is going to be identified by almost all Twitch bots as being some type of a command. So, just expect them to respond to those types of things. So, I think you meant points. Okay, so that's actually a better message for that, because it's telling you, hey, no, it's points, not coins. So that way, if you foolishly typed in the wrong one, it will correct you. Also, that bot's going to get annoying in a second, I realize. So I'm going to go ahead and shut him down, because I don't have him set up to message every 15 minutes. He's set up to message every minute. So let's go ahead and set him back to 15 minutes since we have him connecting to Twitch again, as that makes a lot more sense. And all I had to do was see the message pop in once, and I caught that. So you're welcome, it only said it one time. That could have gotten bad. Okay. So we are able to get these commands like this. The next thing I want to wire up here, we're not actually going to use most of these, but I want to start getting them connected just so that we can have them available. User joined. So I kind of think this is kind of a cool one. It might get annoying to some people, Yeah, yeah, I will. We were doing that initially because so we initially put in the timestamp there. Do you to do 88 or Toto 88? I'm not sure, because it could just be to do. Anyway, we put that in there because we were going to be doing console messages. But yes, you are totally right. We do want to remove those. So let's go ahead and take a look at our fake data for now. And that's going to get us over to these messages. And we are in our message instance putting in our message. That comes from here. It's current time. Todo, got it. Cool. Yeah, so anyway, I'm actually going to mess with that later, because I want to keep working on the Twitch stuff because it's more interesting, and we have an impending time limit where we are going to stop. That is because Star Trek tickets are going on sale, and I actually didn't get a speaking slot this year. So I do actually need to go in with the masses and attempt to get my ticket. In previous years, they've sold out in minutes, so if you're anywhere near Ohio, I would recommend you take a look at the Star Trek conference, and because its ticket sales are going on at 1:59 p.m. today, which is about 13 minutes from now. Make sure to put the exclamation point on the beginning of that, Janiscu. Okay, so I am assuming that in these arguments we are going to get access to, here we go, channel and username. So, interesting thing here, I can connect this chatbot to more than one channel. Now, what I'm not sure what we're going to do about yet is this. Some of you may have noticed in Twitch, there is a change that recently came about. I am going to go ahead and open this now, and actually before I... Okay, good, it's muted already. There is something that may not be set up in TwitchLib yet that we might want to add. Yes, exactly, Janiscu. Rooms. You got exactly where I was going with this. So, in the past, any given Twitch channel only had its channel as the place where you can communicate. And so what that means is that this has channel. And I think that's going to come back as dev chatter every time. So if you take a look up in the top, I'm going to go ahead and pull the stream. So we're going to have the stream inside the stream inside the stream. It's going to be fun. So watch as it, on a delay adds new ones on. It's going to get crazy. See, look. And then you're going to see the next one. Oh man, that's actually a really neat effect. That's crazy. That's going to blow my mind here in a second. Anyway, so the reason I wanted to show you this is... Twitch added this concept of rooms, so you can click this, it pulls down. Now the only room I've got is a moderator room, which isn't really necessary. That's just one of the default things that they put in there for you. And so I could create extra rooms. So if we wanted to have additional discussions going on inside of this while we're doing this, I am really loving this effect as it adds a new one in each time. But I'm going to pull that off the stream before it gets crazier. Hopefully you guys had fun with that one, because that was weird. Okay, so it's going to add rooms. So we might be able to add that back to TwitchLib and put that back in there. So one of the things that I see as a benefit for this is anybody that's been on Twitch on a regular basis knows that a lot of people run bots that have different games and other things like that. So as Janiscu is actually alluding there, mentioning a coins room. So a number of Twitch streamers that I know, what they'll do is they'll connect their bot to their Discord as well. And the reason they do this is so that if people want to gamble with their coins, points, whatever it is they earn in their stream, which these are fun games that people do for Twitch streams and things like that, they'll allow them to gamble in Discord so that that keeps some of that bot traffic off of the main channel. So we could make a coins room that is the place where the bot will actually only respond to the commands in that location, for example. So right now, actually, I want to take a look at this. So we were checking our command. So if we take a look at the event args, did this mention the channel? It doesn't. Okay. So what that might mean is we may need to set up with TwitchLib the idea of these chat rooms. So because Twitch now has chat rooms, we might want to distinguish that we don't want to respond to any message. We might want to restrict it so only certain rooms can do this. Now, this is obviously something you're going to want to configure in some fashion instead of just hard coding into the bot, but it could still be pretty fun. So, alright, so we're going to take a look at that. So I like the fact that they do at least have the concept of channel in here. But I also like that we have username here. So what we could do is we can right now just go ahead and respond and welcome someone as they show up. Now, additionally, what I'd like to do is set it up so that our bot meets people for the first time. So it'll run into your username and say, hey, you're so-and-so, and keep records of people. So what I would like to do is have it say, hey, yeah, you know, Janisku's been here before, so, you know, I can keep track of that and say, hey, welcome back, it's your 10th time here, or something like that. Welcome back, it's your, I'll just say Xth time here. Maybe numberth time here. And then other things like, you know, everyone welcome, welcome back, it's your 10th time here, or something like that, you know. Maybe 10th day here, something like that. So we could keep track of that sort of thing. So, Janisku, you're saying the API might have... Yes. So, I would venture a guess that if we go out to... So, Twitch has... It's like dev.twitch.com or something like that. Or dev.twitch.tv. What am I smoking? They have a whole bunch of information out here. Thank you for the reminder, Crimson Green. I need to make sure I'm paying attention to the time. As I said, I am going to be buying my Star Trek ticket as well. Okay, so over here on dev.twitch.tv, you can see that they have actually pretty good documentation for all of the various things that you can do in terms of development against Twitch. So... this is the Twitch API that I believe Janisku is talking about, and they have set up a whole bunch of things, and I haven't looked for the chat rooms in here, but why don't we just do this? There's got to be a search box somewhere, right? Okay, seriously, don't have like a search box right here for me to search within your things? No search box here. Thanks, guys. That's awesome. Chatbots. Connecting to Twitch IRC. Nope. Chat rooms. Here we go. What is chat rooms? Message. User stay channel endpoint. Join Twitch chat rooms. Channel ID. Room ID. Okay, so there we go. Yep, does look like they've added in some stuff about this. So, as I mentioned, we'll want to mess with TwitchLib in order to actually put that in there. But that's what we're going to end up looking at. Most of this was just a jumping back in, seeing where we are kind of stream today. So we will continue more on this later and actually get some more progress done in our next one, because a lot of this was recap and showing you guys where we are and where we want to go. So I will probably do a couple of things off stream, and get that set up. I'm thinking on Saturday that I want to continue on the soundboard. We did get it running, so we've got it set up so that we can, with keyboard shortcuts, just play various sound bites that we want to have during our stream. My likely setup, I'm just going to have it bound to numpad is what I'm going to do, but you could obviously customize it. We are going to set it up so that our system tray icon for our soundboard is going to have a configure screen where you can pick both the button you press to trigger the audio as well as which audio file you want it to play. So that is our intention. And if I decide to do something else, I'll probably announce it on Twitter. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up so I don't miss Star Trek, and I hope you guys don't either. As I said, if you're anywhere in the Ohio area, you really should check it out. It's a good conference, and the big thing about it, it's a single day. It's going to be the first Friday in May, and it's a conference in a movie theater, and at the end of the conference, they have you watching a movie. So if you want to watch the next Avengers movie, Infinity War, then that is a good chance to do it. And a lot of people stick around for the movie. Some people don't. That's up to you. So if you just want to go to the tech conference, cool. If not, you can stick around for the movie as well. So as we wrap up today, I'm going to go ahead and switch us over to our outro screen. And I'll still keep talking to you for a second, though, because I wanted to go through a couple of thanks here. I wanted to make sure that we thank both of our new followers today. We had a couple of people that joined in, so much appreciated. Looking forward to having you guys chatting with me. And I wanted to thank everybody else that was chatting and talking today. I thought it was good. Had a little bit of fun. We also want to thank the Relax Daily, who's letting us use this background music. And I think we will catch you all on... I need to thank C# Fritz for the host, because he is hosting us today. And yeah, I will catch everybody on Saturday. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Happy coding, and I'll see you later.